Couple things that we want to go over here real quick. If you are watching us live, as we hope you are, we want to know that you're out there, and we cannot see you if you're not commenting. So get those comments in on the YouTubes and on the Facebook. And as I say this, bear with me for a second. Let me play this over on the Rumble side and make sure. Oh, I got to refresh. Then we can play and mute. There. All right. So now I can pop that chat out as well. And I should be able to see you over on Rumble if you are watching on Rumble. And you get those comments in, I should be able to see those as well now. So hit the like button, or on the Rumble side, hit that little boxing glove thumb up. That's, I think they call that a rumble. So give me a rumble over there if you would, if you're watching on that side. Get those comments in. If you're new, we want to know where you are. Let us know where our reach goes. So either way, we're going to have a fun discussion, and hopefully you all out there will be chiming in here. So, all right, a couple other things that we want to mention real quick before we bring in our panel. Go check out Self-Defense Radio Network. We're very proud to be part of that. SDRN.us. You can see all kinds of cool some are video, some are audio only podcasts, freedom related and gun related and 2A related, and just all kinds of super patriotic stuff. So go check that out. Self-Defense Radio Network. Sandhills Defense, as always, is the sponsor of the show this season. So it's pretty cool. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. That's get that. There we go. Never mind me. It's amateur hour here, kids. We are firearms instructors. I am, and this is my company. So it's pretty cool to be able to sponsor my own program now. So give us a look on the website, sandhillsdefense.com, or you can give us a call or a text, 402-851-0726. Of course, we're on Facebook, so you can reach out to us there as well on the Facebook page. Send us a message, whatever you want to do. So, all right, let's get that pulled back off. And let's go back to our Brady Bunch screen here. Let's bring in our illustrious panel of some usual and some very unusual suspects in here. So we'll go through some intros here. First of all, we're just going to go clockwise from my image on your screen. So let's start off. We've got Paul Lathrop in here. How are you, sir?
Doing good, man. How you doing tonight?
Oh, doing great. You know, I had plans on having a whole list of shows and stuff for this discussion tonight. And as always, life happened, and I didn't get all the stuff done that I wanted to do. But I'm going to wing it like I normally do. And we're going to have a fun night here. So, all right. Glad to have you along, sir. Paul, whoops. Let me get that back. Click the right thing. Just real quick, the elevator pitch. Who are you? Where do we know you from?
I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. You might know me from the Polite Society podcast, a show I've been putting out for, goodness, over 10 years, over 11 years now. Also, 2 years now going on the Daily Bullet, otherwise now just known as The Bullet. It's a Monday through Saturday news show. I'm basically, God help us, the face and the voice of the Second Amendment Foundation.
Nope, that's not a terrible thing at all. You're very good at what you do. Glad to have you with us tonight. Okay, moving right along. We've got everybody's favorite tactical teacher, Travis P11 in the hizzy.
Yeah, man.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How you doing tonight? You good?
Yeah, hanging in there.
Cool. Yeah, no, if you haven't checked out my channel, it's called Travis P11. Got a little podcast we do on Saturday mornings. We call it the greatest, quality of life improvement podcast out there. It's called the Caliber Corner. Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Time, so check it out. Otherwise, that's it. You can find me on various forms of social media. There's a hair coming off the back of my microphone here. We'll fix that. Kind of messing with the dog earlier. But otherwise, yeah, make sure you guys check me out. I'm excited for tonight's topic. I think it's going to be interesting. I was a bit shocked. You did a poll, right, John, where you had asked where people get their news information from?
I had. And today just blew me out of the water. So I haven't even gone in tonight and looked at that. I'll do that while we're doing this.
just like, considering the conservative circles more or less that we tend to dabble in, I was surprised that it wasn't more some of the more right-leaning medias that were mentioned in the options. It was more podcasts, which kind of surprised me. So that must be the new way to get your news now, I guess.
Yeah, and if I get really ambitious, I will actually, I'll find a way to pull that up on my screen so we can I'll share those results with that poll here.
Cool.
But yeah, very glad to have you along with us tonight as well.
Thanks, man.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So all right, let's add one more into the mix, but let's keep going clockwise. So Lincoln, Nebraska's other most eligible bachelor, and he who rocks the beard, Defense Dad, what's up?
Yeah, glad to be here tonight. I haven't been on in a while. Beard's getting a little bit scraggly. I got to trim it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm having the same thing going on right now. But tomorrow's actually haircut day, trim day. I try to do everything all at once, so I only have one mess of hair to sweep up.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. Glad to have you along tonight. Anything going on with the channel? I know that you're kind of doing some other stuff with life right now.
Not so much going on the channel, although we do have Thunder on the Prairie coming up. And if you guys have been catching an eye on that, we Travis and I have been planning on that for a while. The planning's going pretty good so far.
Awesome. All right. Can't wait to hear more about that. We'll give you guys a chance to plug that at the end of the show. So there's incentive right there, kids. Don't leave early. Stay around and hear about Thunder on the Prairie here later on tonight. All right. Moving right along. We've got deep underground in an undisclosed location. Rumor has it is somewhere within the borders of this nation. That's all I'm going to say. It's not a foreign country, but it may or may not be in Nebraska. We don't know how far the tunnel actually goes. It's kind of like a wormhole in there. So you could be traveling for 10 feet. You could be traveling for 10,000 miles. We don't know. When you come out the other side, look, there's a bunker. So Pat in a bunker is with us. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show tonight. And I like to call it a rabbit hole because you never know what you're going to end up with.
Pretty apt, yeah. I'm intrigued by this bunker because every week when you come on here, like the collection, the family in the background there seems to grow by one or two members. It seems like all the time there's just more and more stuff happening there, which is both cool and for me it kind of sucks just because I'm not at all jealous at all. But no, I'm very happy to have you with. Thanks for joining us tonight, Pat. Okay, last but not least,
glad to be on.
He showed up fashionably late, but better late than never. He sells propane and propane accessories. What's up, Joe?
Not much, guys. Glad to be here. I was working late tonight, and computer in the truck crashed, so I was out messing with the wires, and I said, some of my favorite people are going to be on in a few minutes. I got to run inside, so I made it.
Cool. All right, glad you did. All right, let's go back to Brady Bunch look here. So
except Travis.
Wow, and it begins already. So yeah, that's our panel tonight. We've got 5 Nebraskans and Paul anchoring down the world, Nebraska and the rest of the world. But I tell you what, this is going to be a fun night. I think we're really going to find some. I hope we're really going to find some news sources that maybe some out there that are watching or listening had not known about, had not considered maybe before. So this is what's going to be kind of cool. As I'm talking here, I was going to go try and find this, and then there's that, and here we go. So I can put this up on the screen. Let's do this. I just wanted to go through what Travis had mentioned on the that one right there. Okay, let's share that up here. So here's the poll. I had posted this a couple days ago, and 12 of you actually voted. 4 of you thumbed it up, so that was pretty cool. But I just said, where do you get your news? And so nobody voted for mainstream radio, just listening to your local top 40 station or whatever, and listening to the news report at the top of the hour. We had coming in for well, I guess third place. Mainstream or traditional TV news. So, ABC News at 5:00 or the local, KELOLAND or whatever it is. 8% of you said that was where you get your news. A tie for second place. Alternative TV like Newsmax or News Nation is kind of the opposite of Newsmax. Newsmax very conservative. News Nation very not, from what I can tell. The Blaze, some of those, or a designated online news site would be also 17%. So that would be like going to the Fox News website or the CNN website, or how does Dave Rubin put it? The televised mental institution known as MSNBC, something like that. And then 58%, not only the plurality, but the majority of people who answered the poll said that they go to live or recorded podcasts to get their news. So, Mr. Deputy Director of New Media, I tell you what, that podcast thing is fast becoming what people are going to, it looks like.
I've been saying this for a long time, and your poll just confirms it. I like to use the term legacy media for, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN. I use the term legacy media for them. I got that from GRPC a couple of years ago. And the reason I think it fits so well is just like a legacy port on your computer. It's still there, but nobody knows why, because it's never, ever used. We are going around the legacy media, and I'm going to say, by and large, we are where a lot of Americans, especially those concerned with Second Amendment rights, are getting their news.
Yeah, I think that's very true. The thing is, too, what I've noticed is the legacy media very polarized and very polarizing is too. So, I mean, you try to watch a report from CNN, MSNBC, any of those that they can claim to be middle of the road all they want, but everything is skewed with a left-leaning direction, and that's fine. That's what they want to do. That's how they want their organization to work. So, that's, again, First Amendment says they've got the freedom to do it how they want to, right? But I have a hard time listening to some of that when it is so blatantly just completely disconnected from reality as we all know it. And so, but now I'm going to maybe stir some people up here when I say this, but I notice that it's not as bad, but I notice this when I watch like Fox News. It's decidedly right-leaning, they're the counter to CNN, right? But I will also say that sometimes they lean to the right a little too much, to a fault. What I can't find is the old Walter Cronkite, the old Dan Rather from when I was a kid, not Dan Rather lately, but when I was a kid, just the straight down the middle of the road. Here's the news. You decide what you want to make of it, if it's good, bad, or indifferent. Our job is just to get the information out. And it's really hard now to find any news outlet that is just 100%, how do I say that? Neutral, I guess. I know that there may be some out there, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this is ferret some of those out and have some people. Now, here's the thing though, if you're out there listening to this show right now, you probably don't have a decidedly left-leaning view of the world. So you may be like a lot of people who just can't stand to hear the nonsense. So you do seek out the what's the word I'm looking for? The confirmation bias type of approach, where a lot of people just want to listen to the outlets for the news that tell them the stuff that they wanted to hear, right? And not that it's what they're saying isn't true, but especially when it comes to no longer news, but when it comes to the commentary, right? The pundits, the talking heads, that try to break down what does this news actually mean. You know, a lot of people want to find somebody that sees the world the same way that they do. And so I don't care who's listening to this, watching this right now. I don't care if you're looking for somebody that paints towards the left or paints towards the right, or heaven forbid they paint right down the middle. But if you have one that you like, don't be afraid to put it in the comments. Even if you do like that left-leaning stance, I'll personally guarantee that the people out there with the little blue wrenches will make sure you're not attacked, ostracized, or you know, henpecked out there in the chat just because you've got a different viewpoint. So feel free to speak freely out there. The only thing, of course, we just ask that you keep it to a PG-13 level and don't attack each other. But other than that, you've got free reign to speak your mind out there in the chat. Very good comment that just popped up. Randy over there on the Facebook side says, the one I miss more than Cronkite is Paul Harvey. Yeah, Paul Harvey. I tell you what, that's probably the best example I can think of in my lifetime of a true neutral, middle of the road reporter, right? I shouldn't say reporter. He was a commentator.
A storyteller, man.
Great storyteller, yeah. But I mean, he would give commentary on the news as well. But for the most part, I mean, he didn't spin anything whatsoever, and I really appreciated that.
At least you got the rest of the story.
Yeah, exactly. Those were so fun to listen to as well. So, what Paul Harvey would be on a couple times during the morning, and then the afternoon, at 2:30 in the afternoon or 3:30, I don't remember. We'd get the rest of the story on our local radio station back home. So yeah, good stuff. First and foremost, I am going to put everybody on the spot, and we're going to go around the horn here. And I just want you guys to tell the rest of us where you get your news, and if you have a favorite. I don't necessarily want to know. Well, my favorite is Fox News, or my favorite is CNN. No, which ones do you tune into? Do you just turn on Fox News and let that run all day in the background and just pick up bits and pieces? Do you have special shows that you like? That's what I want to know. Special shows or special commentators. If it's on TV, if it's on radio, if it's on the interwebs, I want to know the ones that you enjoy the most and that you actually look forward to hearing from to bring current events type of stuff to your life. So Joe, we'll start with you since we went clockwise last time. We'll go counterclockwise. So I know you spend a lot of time on the old propane and propane accessories truck. So what? And you're pretty knowledgeable on what's happening around the world. So I know you're listening to news. Where do you get the news that you get?
Well, there's one guy I hear quite often. It's every Wednesday. It starts at about 8:00. I get a lot of good news there. Sand Hills Media. He's a little biased.
You're usually here, so I don't know where else you're listening to news while you're on the show.
Well, we're having to listen to Travis, so I mean, come on.
I'm muted. What are you talking about? Good day.
The other really good source is my wife, of course, but I'm not going to share that one either. Every time something pops up, hey, did you see this? It's a lot of mine is Twitter feed from different people, nationally and statewide. Different things that pop up on Facebook. I listen to Scott Voorhees sometimes.
Which
I hear
maybe 1110 out of Omaha.
Yeah. And then we have Chris Baker. He's on Outlaw Streamers now. So that covers a lot of our local stuff. And as of right now, I would say I'm more focused on what's Nebraska based, just because we're in the legislative session. So outside of Nebraska, I'm hearing bits and pieces, but mine is really, really based for what's going on in our state and on our legislative level. So
real quick here, Joe, before I move on, because I don't even know if I know the whole list, but I know you're involved in a lot of different organizations. Joe is about as plugged in across the board as anybody I've ever met before. So in addition to being another, a co-board member, I guess, for Nebraska Firearms Owners Association, along with myself. What other organizations are you not only part of but active with?
So I'm actually the vice chair of the Republican Party for the county I'm in, and then I'm in 3rd district, which would be oh good lord, I drew a blank. What the heck's his name? I just drew a blank. Anyway, 3rd district is 80 counties, and it's divided up into 17 subdistricts. In one of the sub-districts. And then as of Saturday, I was actually elected as the member at large for our 3rd district executive board over those 80 counties as well. So most of it is Republican based. I do work with Freedom Coalition and Patrick Peterson, and NAGO, which is Ali French, and also Sue Greenwald with Save Nebraska Children. So those are some of the other grassroots organizations that I do remain in good contact with, share information, help rally people when we need to. Right now is LB, I believe it's 574 that's in legislation. And that is where they're wanting to allow children under the age of 19 to make life-altering decisions by removing certain appendages because of a certain way they feel. So that is one of the big things where it's going through. And today was
you can call it what it is. It's what they quote unquote gender affirming care surgeries. So
gender mutilation is really what we're calling it. That's what they want to do. The
lopping off parts, either mastectomies on children or other parts being removed at a very young age. Yeah, as not legal adults.
No, and it's been proven many, many times. They always yell, follow the science. Well, they say, theoretically, their brain doesn't fully develop by the age of 25. So why are we letting a 14 or 15-year-old decide life-altering choices? And the reason the pharmaceutical companies wants to chase this down, and one of the things that really blew up the other day is one of our Republican senators was trying to make a deal and allow pubic blockers to stay in place, which seems innocent on the surface. But the problem is once they do that and they start charging their system with the opposite, either estrogen or testosterone, to the way they want to transition, they've said that I believe it's about 90% of them within 5 years want to transition back. The problem is once they want to transition back, they're now hooked on pharmaceutical drugs for the rest of their life. So if they're male and they dumped a bunch of estrogen with the pubic blockers to produce the testosterone they need, they're going to basically have to take testosterone pills the rest of their life to produce the amount they need, because it screws up their system. Well, of course, this is why pharmaceutical companies are behind it. You don't make money by finding a cure. So we need to create a situation where they keep making billions of dollars every year. And this is how they do it, under the guise of we're for the children. Well,
so for those of you,
majority of us,
for those of you out there keeping track of Nebraska's permitless carry bill, LB 77, that's part of the reason why we're still in a holding pattern. It has not been scheduled for the debate for round 2 because they're tied up debating this bill right now. And a specific Nebraska state senator has already vowed. I mean, you can go read newspaper articles. This is not hearsay. She's on record saying she will do her best to stall every conservative senator's bill, no matter what it is, and especially this one, because she's waving the banner for the opposite of this. But I believe, and don't, this is not a direct quote. I'm going to say that I'm paraphrasing, but I think I'm quoting her directly as saying she's going to burn this session to the ground. That's her intent. Her intent is to have this legislative session be worthless, and she's doing it's a terrible thing, but she's doing a good job at it.
She does a good job just by opening her damn mouth.
Yeah.
We have a little bit different problem now, though, John.
What is that?
We have a little is one of our senators flinched, and supposedly there was a deal made, so she's backed off. And of course, when you flinch you kind of show a weakness. And so what they've done is that one has shut down, but now Megan Hunt is the one running. And so they've basically doing the same thing.
So
but
M.
they've
Kavanaugh
switched
has
partners.
toned it
Backed
down
off.
a little. Okay.
But now Megan Hunt's the one that's doing that. And supposedly there's possibly been a deal made between the speaker and Kavanaugh to help prioritize some bills. And,
Gotcha.
That's all up in the air, but we don't know. But it's really funny how there was a conversation while she was on the floor. She removed her bracket amendment she was trying to do and shut down. And the very next day, all of a sudden, Megan Hunt's the one that's making all the noise and Kavanaugh's stepping back. So
it's one or the other. There's not a whole lot.
Right.
So
no.
Anyway, that's what's slowing everything down. They're doing their best to waste everybody's time. And if you pay taxes in Nebraska and or vote in Nebraska, then she's set on wasting your time and your money. So yeah, it's a terrible thing, but there's still plenty of time for LB 77 to get where it needs to be. Spend 6 more hours of total debate and one trip to enrollment and review in between. So there's still, the landscape's still good. We just can't take our foot off the gas. Okay, so
one last thing, John.
Go ahead.
Remember, they said, and this involves LB 77, but also with the other bills, that you can still make comments and inform your senators. So when LB 77 comes up for our select file, we can still make the comments. They won't officially go on the record, but we need to hold our senators accountable.
But the senators can access those comments that are still submitted online if they want to by going to the LB 77 landing page. So it may or may not make a difference if you comment there. What will make a difference is if people reach out to their senators directly, but we'll cover that here later in the night. So
absolutely.
Okay, let's move back along here. Pat, we're going to move over to you now. When it comes to getting news and keeping up with what's happening in the world, both near and far, what's your go-to?
Well, I'll start off with, as far as Second Amendment stuff goes, just gun rights in general and everything. Paul and all the good work that he does over there with all his cohorts over there. Love tuning in. Most of the time, I'm either in a truck or a tractor or got these little guys in and listening to on a podcast. So don't get to see very much audio, but definitely get to listen to it. So that's really good. Guns and Gadgets is another good one on YouTube. Let's see. That's just a couple that I can rattle off the top of my head right now as far as Second Amendment stuff goes. As far as general news going on in the world or in the United States, I watch or actually listen to. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Holy crap! The Verdict with Ted Cruz. That's been a pretty good one. I've been listening to that one ever since it started up. And from what I can tell, he shoots you pretty straight most of the time. So, a journalist out there, Matt Taibbi, I like to listen to a lot of his stuff out there. And there's a couple more. There's a couple more good ones out there that I just can't remember right off the top of my head. But yeah, those are definitely some of the ones that I like to. Now, some of the other ones that I do have come up on my feed anyway is, the usual like Fox News and stuff like that. But, sometimes I think they can be a little bit slanted too far to the right, but, for the most part, I think they're okay. But, it's the mainstream media. So, I mean, they got to sell ads and they're leaning towards a certain way too. So, I can kind of understand it. That doesn't necessarily mean I have to agree with it. But yeah, that's Erg News Max, stuff like that. And they did win out on the DirecTV deal. So they are back on DirecTV now as of today. So they couldn't get rid of the conservative deal. So they are back on.
Well, that's good. Good to hear that they're not able to completely block out both sides of the of the discussion. That's pretty cool. Yeah, you've got a lot of
Exactly.
windshield time in your life, whether it's truck windshield or pickup or tractor windshield. You got a lot of time spent in a seat driving something. So I
Yeah,
figured you'd have a
definitely.
pretty good list of things that you listen to get through the day. So
Yeah, and that's just a small handful. I mean, I know I'm missing some that I'm not thinking right off the top of my head,
sure.
but
Nope, that's
any one
okay.
of those, any of those would be great. So,
Alrighty. Defense Dad, we'll kick it over to you. You seem to be pretty well plugged in with what's happening in the world as well, so I know you're getting news from somewhere.
I'm probably a little bit different than the rest of you. I choose not to listen to it or watch it on TV or anything. I have a lot of free time at work, so I see it on my feeds. I check out the local, like the Journal Star. I check out the local media stations from those headlines, and I research to try to find both sides of the story rather than just one.
Right.
It annoys me to no end just to drive and listen to it in the radio. I'll be in a bad mood by the time I get someplace, so I choose to do it in a different manner. I don't spend a lot of time driving, and I that's probably the only time I get peace and quiet for the most part. So I don't listen to it.
Gotcha. Nope, that makes sense too. That makes sense too. All right, Travis. I know that throughout the day you don't get a lot of chance to check in, but when you do get some time to catch up on the world, where are you going to do it?
So before I respond, I'd like to quote Sun Tzu, who said, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." So with that being said, I bounce between liberal talk radio and conservative talk radio, and that's so I can understand my enemy better.
Okay.
And the funny thing about this is my liberal friends, I have friends that are liberal, and their arguments are the exact same arguments I hear from the liberal side. And they try to back up their points with their data, and then you listen to the conservative side, and they back up their points with their data, and those are the points that we argue. So if I understand where they're trying to come from, it might not necessarily make sense. It helps me have a better argument. So I do use XM in my car, even though I literally have a 5-minute drive to work. But living in Lincoln, you have a lot of seat time getting places. So I'll have 15 or 20 minutes going across town. So I just listen to XM, and I bounce between either POTUS and Patriot Radio 125. So I listen to Alex Marlowe. I listen to Mark Levin. One of the guys from Fox, is Hannity, I think, is on there in the afternoons.
Okay.
They've got a lot of really good. And then when I'm driving out to the range, they've got a 15 or 20-minute drive on Saturday and Sunday. So I think it's Sunny Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. She's on Sunday mornings. So they're really good shows. And I do listen to local radio occasionally, mainly when family's with me and stuff like that. But and I do read 10, 11 news, for reading instead of watching. I just tend to read the news because I have time to do that at lunchtime to keep up with what's going on, I would personally say that 10, 11 News, in my opinion, when I look at what they write, the articles they write, a lot of AP articles, but the local news is just the news. They don't seem to put a political bias one way or the other. I don't really seem to notice them slanting things. Just, I don't see anything overt that stands out. But that's just kind of Nebraska being very moderate in certain ways compared to a lot of the national news that's out there. So that's what I do. But I mean, honestly, you should take some time at some point and try to, if you can, bring yourself to listen to any of the NPR or liberal talk radio to see what their argument is. Now, I will say one thing about NPR. Being married at one point to what I consider a moderate Democrat, she would have a lot of NPR in the car. And when they would talk about issues, they would present both sides of the issue, especially about guns, because we'd have these discussions about guns. And she was very pro-2A, still is pro-firearm. And on NPR, they would play both sides of the argument for background checks or lack thereof or whatever, so it's not like it's always just a slanted, but so many people don't want to listen to what the liberal side is. I don't think they understand what their argument is, and they don't care and they don't want to hear it, but you understand your enemy better if you know where they're coming from.
Right. And I think too, going back to a few weeks ago when we talked about how words matter, and at that point it was firearm related words, but overall, I mean, there's such nuance now when we start talking about liberal or left, or I mean, there are some people who have been liberal for 50 years, and they're the true classic sense of what it means to be liberal, and that is completely its own separate thing from what liberal has come to mean today, because now liberal is often equated with the far left,
yeah,
and conservative and far right aren't always the same thing either, right? So maybe one of these weeks we'll have a deep dive into what it means to be conservative or liberal versus far left or far right. But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, I want people to keep that in mind as well as we're going along and talking about some of this stuff is, you can be liberal and still make a lot of sense. And this is just my opinion, but you can be, if you're far left, there's not a lot of sense that I hear coming from that end of this, the spectrum when it comes to any discussion on anything that's a political hot button, whether it's firearms or gender care or health care, abortion, anything like that. I can't get behind where the far left is coming from. But somebody that's a true sense of the word liberal, I could have a conversation all afternoon with somebody like that, more than likely. And neither one of us will ever change our mind. But yeah, then I'll get a better understanding of where they're coming from. Because somebody like that, more often than not, wants to discuss. And they want the same thing. They want to know where I'm coming from. Whereas the far left would prefer to just shout somebody down and not listen. And let's not mince words. The far right has those people as well, right? I mean, we see them in the gun argument all the time that the only thing they know how to do is shout shall not be infringed or cold dead hands. And that's their whole argument. And they don't want to listen. They don't care where anybody else is coming from. Well, you guys know how I feel about that. So yeah, a classic liberal is way different. And that's somebody that those are the people that are going to change this world. When the classic liberals and the classic conservatives get together and have a discussion and find some common ground and then see if they can work together toward any kind of an outcome, then that's what's really going to change the world. But we've just gotten so far away from that in the last few years in most of society, most of the civilized world, not just here in the US. So I pray for the day that cooler heads will prevail and people will go back to opening up the lines of communication and actually listening to each other. But we'll see. We'll see if that ever happens. So good stuff, Travis. Okay, Paul, you are, again, you're very plugged in, especially in the Second Amendment world. But you know what's happening in other arenas across the globe, too. So where do you get your news, sir?
Well, if you're talking world news, I have various Amazon voice devices. I don't want to wake her up. So throughout the house. And
does it sound like Mamekma?
Yes, very close to that. Yes.
You have a communist living in your house?
Yeah. Well, I do. But I will every morning when I wake up, I have her play Fox News hourly update for me. And I'll get 5 minutes of world news from Fox. Then I head into my studio, and I'm pretty much wrapped up in Second Amendment news from there on out. If you want me to, I can give you the laundry list of where I get my Second Amendment news. But for nationwide news, it's pretty much Fox News Radio is where I get my stuff.
Okay, you know what? We're all the way around the circle, so let's do it. Where do you get your 2A news and anybody out there? I'm stalling just a second in case you need a minute to grab a notepad or something if you want to write some of these down.
I just look over here to this computer screen, but go ahead.
Well, not you, the people listening.
Oh, yeah.
I know, but so now that we've said that, go ahead and why don't you list off the places that you go to?
My first news source it just is back up is no, it's not. No, it's down again. keepandbeararms.com. That's part of the Second Amendment Foundation. It's owned by the Second Amendment Foundation. That's a daily recap of news from the past 24 hours. I rely heavily on that. Also, Bearing Arms. I love the stuff that Cam does over there. I love the stuff that Tom Knighton does over there. And I'll browse AmmoLand a little bit, but they're so heavily on gun sales that their gun news kind of falls to the side a bit. And then, believe it or not, I do a Google News search every day.
Okay.
that goes for the. Let me actually pull this up, and I can give you what I search for on a daily basis. And it's popping now. Go to following, and I do a search on gun rights media, gun safety, Second Amendment, gun control, and gun rights every day. And I get an aggregation of stories from Google about all those. And for my show, I just pick the ones that are most relevant for either the co-host that I have that day or for a specific area that I want to target.
Okay. All righty. Looking at some of the comments here as I'm listening to everybody, I can't read very well while I'm listening, but Randy is out there, and well, first of all, he said there's Lib Talk Radio. He apparently was not aware of that.
There is.
Yeah. There's lots of it if you know where to look, especially if you have Sirius or XM, right? Is where you can get a lot more of that stuff. He also wants to know, I have not gotten any news from today because today was just kind of nuts. So, Paul, I know you know all about it, and have probably decided that you're not going to talk about it for a couple of days, like is your normal policy. But apparently, yeah, they had pulled the SROs out of Denver schools, and now they're deciding that maybe those were some essential people. So, I'm sorry that it took a tragedy to finally see the light, but isn't that just par for the course there? And I believe, Randy, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are up there in that Sioux Falls area as well. So he says KFAB and KELO in Sioux Falls for news, along with Fox Radio.
If we're talking terrestrial radio, let me add one more in there. WNAX out of Yankton.
Yankton's great station. The 570 AM reaches across half the country. I swear it.
It does.
I remember
they say it's 5 states, but that's just where you can hear it clearly.
Right. Yeah, and at night, all bets are off. So, okay here. So, and as far as myself, I guess I should finish out the trip around the horn here. News and current events is, the 2A stuff. I listened to Guns and Gadgets for a while, and I'm not here to bash on anybody. But recently, I have tried as director of media for NFOA, as just a guy with a media channel here, a YouTube channel and Facebook stuff and a podcast, and just as a guy who is mutual friends with a lot of Guns and Gadgets, Jared's friends as well. I've tried to reach out to the dude because I don't know where he gets his info on Nebraska politics, on LB77 or anything else. I do know that a few weeks ago he gave an update, and a couple days after the first round of floor debate, and said, yeah, by next week it should be wrapped up. And I'm like, I don't know where you get your news, pal, but it ain't going to happen in 2-3 weeks, let alone 1 week. I can't reach the guy. He won't. I even had a mutual friend throw us together in a Facebook Messenger group, the three of us, saying, hey, Jared, this is John. And, I think you should get to know him. And he's part of NFOA's board, and he's kind of plugged into Nebraska's stuff that's going on. And I have yet to, I don't know, I haven't checked in a while. Last I knew, he hadn't even opened it and looked at it. So I'm not saying that Jared is a bad person. I am saying that one of my former go-tos for a lot of 2A news, I've kind of backed off a little bit watching Jared's stuff, just because, I mean, I don't know if he's doing me dirty or if he's just that busy in life that he just flat out doesn't realize when people reach out to him. But I really wish that he would find a source that actually knows what's going on in the unicameral. And I know some people, so I'd be a great conduit to get him hooked up with some people in the know. But there are some others out there. Mark Walters with the Four Boxes Diner tells me most of the same stuff. And as a lawyer, he actually digs into some of this stuff deeper than what a lot of the channels do. When it comes to just regular news, it's there's two main shows that I try to catch every day. Perpetually, I'm a day or two behind, so I don't always find out about some of this stuff right away. And they both are, definitely the opposite of left or liberal. But I love the News and Why It Matters. which is part of the Blaze TV network, but it's the News and Why It Matters has its own YouTube channel now, so you can go and watch without a subscription to Blaze. Hosted by Sarah Gonzalez, who's been doing it for a lot of years, and she does kind of what, I don't know, some of the stuff that I do, I think I've picked up on. She does it in studio, and she's got a round table, and she's got 2 or 3 guests on the show with her. So there's either 3 or 4 people sitting at this table, and they have a discussion about the day's news, give the commentary. She's got her own list of usual suspects that cycle throughout the week, but it's not a hard and set schedule. But a lot of the Blaze contributors pop in and out on that show. So it's good to get a wide variety of opinions on a given topic too. So that one, and then also, and I know he's tied in with Blaze Media, but he's down in Florida now. Dave Rubin, you guys hear me talk about him. The Rubin Report is a great one too. The only thing I've noticed, all of the Blaze shows that actually report on current events, it seems like they get an email probably every morning of these are the things that we're going to talk about. Here are the clips to go ahead and use, because they seem to show the same news clips and kind of talk about the same things that happened. I don't know who it is. I wouldn't want this job, but somebody over there at the Blaze goes and watches The View every day, which is kind of a treasure trove of sound bites and things like that for them to clap back at or whatever. But I feel sorry for that person that has to sit through all those, all the MSNBC stuff, all the CNN stuff, the Rachel Maddow, the I can't even think of the lady's name now that's on MSNBC, but Jen Psaki just has a new show now on there too, so they've started adding her in there. Somebody's got to comb through all of that opposite side stuff. Travis, it's kind of like what you said though. To know your enemy, to understand him, you have to get to know him, right? So it's good that happens, because I don't know if the other side actually does that. I don't know if the other side's combing through the Blaze or the Newsmax stuff or even a lot of the Fox News stuff. It seems like they only ever blast Tucker Carlson, and that's the only one that they get mad about. So I think from 7 to 8 o'clock they're watching that, and then they must turn it off. So
a lot of these people we can't change. I mean, I think we understand that, but I mean, there's a lot of people out there that were already making comments saying, "Oh, there's such a thing as liberal talk radio," or who listens to that. I'm not going to point anybody out in particular in the comments, but yeah, there's a lot of people, and maybe you got members of your own family that you want to try to convince otherwise. So maybe if you have a heads up on what their argument's probably going to be, because all they're going to do is respout what they heard on NPR, then maybe you can have a nice constructive argument with them and change them. I've changed people before many times, especially about firearms ownership. So, and a lot of just the misconceptions they have about things, whether it's what's a ghost gun or what does it take to actually get a gun, or even constitutional carry, permitless carry, just the fears that they have about it. And they're so just ridiculous,
And I'll tell you this, and I'm not just saying this because you're bigger than me, but I really like your approach, Travis. Because your demeanor, just your attitude, the way that you go about a conversation, you do it the way that I wish more people would do it, because you'll listen to what people say, which I think is a credit to your profession too. I mean, you're either naturally good at it, or you've learned how to listen to the people, your students or whatnot, when they're talking to you as well. But you'll hear somebody out, and then I've never ever seen you talk at somebody in my life since the whole time that I've known you. I mean, you'll have a discussion, you'll talk with somebody, you'll explain things in a very calm, reasonable way. I've never seen you fly off the handle. I've never seen you raise your voice at somebody in a discussion. I just really appreciate the way that you do that. And like I said, I'm not saying that to kiss your butt or because you're bigger than I am, but it's anybody who's ever been around Travis, talking to somebody who doesn't see the world exactly the way that he does, take notes and learn how to open the lines of communication and not shut them down. Yeah, Blitz hit that right on the head. I tell you what, you should be a teacher.
Man, I'll tell you what I thought about the profession. So, but I mean, in all honesty, John, there's a protocol that you follow, and there's no reason to blow a gasket, because you don't have to let it get to that phase in the profession. People do, unfortunately, and it makes them look bad.
It takes a big person, a very mature person, to recognize the fact that you're not going to change everybody's mind, nor should you. And I'm not even always there. I mean, sometimes I get to the point where I get steamed up and lose my cool a little bit. And I try not to do that, but, and it also depends on if I think somebody is legitimately arguing points that are wrong because they're misinformed versus somebody that's trying to be a troll or something like that too. I mean, if I think you're trying to mess with me, then you're not going to get me. I don't give people the satisfaction of, getting upset at what they have to say if I think that's their goal. Mm-hmm. But when people say stuff that they think is, they honestly say this stuff and sometimes it's upsetting. So anyway, I'm just saying that Travis does a great job of that. And I do appreciate that.
Thanks, man. But I come here for the knowledge. I come here to learn how to have intellectual arguments with people.
Than me on this panel.
That's why I don't like to argue politics, because it just turns into just quoting stats back and forth with each other, and then it turns into a shouting match, and it's like, what's the point? Life's too short.
And Gabriel, I think I said Mark Walters. It's just not what I meant to say. Mark Smith, 4 Boxes Diner is what I meant to say. Mark Walters is why can't I think of it now? It's was that Armed American Radio or something like that? Anyway,
right.
There's some good stuff there too. I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to get to GRPC this year and meet some of these folks face to face that I do actually turn to keep me abreast of what's happening, both in the 2A world and in the world at large. So that's going to be fun. And that's what's cool. All these people get together, compare notes, learn from each other. I like that. I like the fact that when it comes to the Second Amendment community, everybody is a big family and everybody wants to help everybody else succeed. If you've got a great website that's putting up great articles and somebody else also has a great website that's putting up great articles, there's no perceived competition there. I mean, you can go to both websites and read on both sides, right? So it's not competition. It really is camaraderie. And a rising tide lifts all boats. So I love the fact that the Second Amendment community has got that figured out for the most part. At least the people that are putting their name, putting their face out there, and not being afraid to speak up and speak out. They really do have a strong sense of family. So I like the way Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie explains it every time he goes to an event like a GRPC or the camping event in Florida, any of those events. Once you've been to one, you're kind of like, okay, these people are kind of cool. Then every time you go back to any of those events, it's the family reunion. You're seeing the cousins, the aunts, the uncles that figuratively speaking, that you get to see them once or twice a year, and it's good to catch up, and you get to know these people that they become like family. It's pretty cool.
Well, and not only that, I'm sorry to jump in here, but
no, that's okay.
If any of the people that I meet at Gun Rights Policy Conference, at NRA annual meeting, at SHOT Show, when I go to those type of things, the core group of Second Amendment media people, I know I can go to any of them and ask, hey, can you help me with this? And they'll make time to make that happen.
Yes, that's amazing too. So yeah, it's I have never heard of, and that's why I want to be careful. I'm not putting Jared Yanis on blast just because whether he did or he snubbed me or not, he's just that busy. Like I said, I'm not saying that he snubbed me. Okay, that's not what I'm trying to say. But no, I've never heard of true feuding going on between the people that are on our side of that debate. So that right there, the solidarity that you see speaks volumes to, I think anyway, to the cause itself. It's so unifying, I guess. The Second Amendment and belief in it is such a unifying idea. And yeah, we all do our thing differently, but we're all working towards the same goal. And I love the fact that community gets that and sees that and understands that everybody's on the same team, no matter what their job is or how, what they do. So not everybody can be on the football field and be the star quarterback, right? Some people have to be linemen. Other people have to be equipment managers. Other people have to run the scoreboards. But it takes everyone.
Who's the water boy?
Bobby Boucher. But if
Not me, baby. I play defense and offense, tackle and guard, yo.
Oh, you go both ways, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm on special teams.
Travis
Never held the ball. Never held the ball.
Sorry, guys. John was getting wound up and he's on a roll. I had to break it.
Always a lineman, never a superstar. Hey, John, is Jared going to be at GRPC? I'm just kind of curious.
I think so. I'm going to meet the guy and make friends with him, and then we won't have
should.
a problem anymore. Yep,
Yeah.
that's why. Like I said, I don't want to blast anybody because I'm not calling him out here. I'm just saying that I don't always take the high road. Sometimes if I'm trying to reach out to somebody and I can't get through, I'll find a different person to listen to, and maybe they will make sense to them too. So that's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not always the adult in the room.
Nice defense, Dad.
But Mama said. But Mama said.
Liberals are the devil.
That's some high quality H2O right there, defense dad serving. High quality H2O.
Good Lord.
High quality H2O tonight. I'll tell you what.
Wow, I don't know. We've turned into all of a sudden a water boy show.
This is going downhill now.
I'm going to draw the
drug
line
testing
right
the
here.
panel yet.
We're not going to spend the rest of the show quoting awesome movies because I could do that until the sun comes up, and I'm not.
But
I've got stuff.
you asked where we got our news from. I mean, the devil. Mama said the devil.
You get your news from Adam Sandler and Henry Winkler.
I mean, I agree with John. It's his show, and this is the way.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, then we're gonna stop this right here with that part because I have spoken. And so, no, but so okay. I have not had a lot of chance to dig through the comments here. Have we had comments of people that are saying other either other pages or other news shows, other hosts that they like to listen to? Let me see here. I did hear somebody else that said
wait, case link that M. Gabriel's talking about. I'm not familiar with that. Is that like a live link of cases you can watch the progress of them on related to 2A? Is that what? He goes, I don't think the 2A case link.
He wants. I can't. From where I'm at right now, I'd have to. I'm not in the actual YouTube chat where I can assign blue wrenches to people. M. Gabriel, I'm sorry. He tried to post a link and it won't let you if you're not a mod. So there's some link to a case that he wanted to link to. Email it to me. I'll put the link up. Email it to me. sandhillsmediaempire@gmail.com. We will we'll do it that way.
Not that we're overblown on ourselves or anything.
What? No, this is I'm kind of a big deal, Paul. I didn't know you didn't know.
Yes.
One of the best things about me is that I'm humble. And I'm so humble that I'm about the best there is at being humble. I will tell anybody who asks me about how humble I am because I'm about the humblest person that you'll ever meet. Maybe even humbler than what I think I am. I'm really good at being humble. It's one of the best things I do. That and teamwork. I pretty much do all the teamwork around here, all of it, just by myself. And that's part of what keeps me humble.
John's nickname is Humblebee. That's right.
Oh,
See,
that's
John
awesome.
runs the finer quality of life improvement podcast. I run a fine quality of life improvement podcast.
Yeah,
He's like one step above.
We're not going to compare who's got the better show
above.
because this one that I host is I don't think this is the best show that nobody's watching. That's what I like to call it. It lists,
I'm waiting for Stanhill Sweetheart to pipe.
Humblebee tuna.
Okay. What I missed what you said about
Humblebee tuna.
Humblebee tuna. Joe, what did you say about Sandhill Sweetheart?
I said I'm looking at the comments. I'm waiting because we know who sits in the producer's chair. So just saying.
One of these weeks we're actually going to get her over to where she's not on screen, but she can put these comments up on the screen. So one of these weeks we'll actually turn her loose to do the full producer's job, and I just get to run my mouth. It's gonna be so nice. It's gonna be fun. I don't know if she wants to do that or not. We'll see.
Well, I hope so because then we'd have
we're not going to get her on screen. The very very most we'll ever get is we'll put a mic over on her side too, and she can talk, but she does not want to be on screen. So I don't know why. She won't understand. Well, she may understand, but she won't agree with me that we'd have a lot more viewers if we had a pretty lady on the show instead of my ugly mug week in and week out. But whatever. Y'all are nodding your head. I see you. So
you heard
he's
the rocks
face of the
rolling.
company.
yeah, exactly. Now I can't remember what else I was going to bring in. I was looking for comments out there in the live chat. You folks that are watching and listening right now, where do you go to get your news? Which shows? Which not just don't tell me. Oh, I go to Blaze, or I go to Fox, or I go to whatever NBC News. But which shows do you tune into? Which ones do you like to listen to on the radio, on TV? Which podcasts do you? 58% of you pick podcasts. Which ones? I did see somebody said they miss Rush. Yeah, Rush was pretty good. People either loved him or hated him, or they loved to hate him. But the guy didn't pull punches. That was for sure. And
Dan Bongino, man.
There you go. There's a good one. Yep. Dan Bongino replaced him, right, in the radio lineup. So again, he won't pull punches. Now I'm not saying he knows everything there is to know, but he's not afraid to pull punches. Or he's not afraid to say it how he means it is how I should have worded that.
Paul, are you talking? I'm wondering about Paul's opinion on that one. Is it sometimes because he always seems, not always, but there are times when he acts like the sky's falling? Is that kind of?
That's part of why I listen to him very rarely when I'm driving the car. But I do listen to him from time to time because he's on local radio here. The other thing I get the impression, and there are people in the Second Amendment world, don't make me give out names. There are people in Second Amendment media that are the same way. Dan Bongino is his own biggest fan. He's the president of his own fan club.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that just rubs me the wrong way.
And we goof around, but honestly, I try very hard to not act like I was just pretending to earlier, because I don't want to be like that. I don't want to turn people off because they think that I'm only here for, self-gratification and I put people in the panel to only ever agree with me and tell me what I want to hear and kiss my butt and blow smoke up my ass and all that stuff. We don't do that here, and I don't want that to happen. That's probably one of the biggest knocks you could ever give my show is, and I've heard it from time to time, is when people say, oh, it's just an echo chamber. You never put anybody on here that'll actually refute you. Well, I can't force people to be in here. Number one, I invite people all the time, and I always ask for somebody that if you've got an honest to goodness different opinion, and you can come in and we can discuss it and not resort to ad hominem attacks or anything like that, then cool. I'm good with that. I want that to happen. I wish I could have that every week. I think people would tune in a lot more to hear a true debate like that, but you just can't get people to do it. Especially when this is what I tend to see the conservative side or the right side of the spectrum. They're willing to go on any show, anytime, and debate anybody, anywhere. But the people on the left typically won't do it. And so that's the trouble I run into is I am forced to bring people in who see the world mostly as I do, because number one, these are the circles I run in. I mean, you guys are all my friends, not only on this screen, but outside in the real world too, for multiple reasons. And we cross paths in other ways. But that's just it, is if the show got bigger and we could get people that would come in and be, again, not be trolls, but be genuinely, have a true discussion, if not a debate, at least a true discussion, that would be so cool. But you just can't find it. And when people that are left leaning do put conservatives on their show, they do it in a way to mock them. Like Jon Stewart just had one of the, what was it? A congressman from Pennsylvania just recently that he was trying to just wipe the floor with this guy. He worded his questions and then talked over him in such a way that he made this guy just look like a complete moron, like he didn't know anything, which is what they do typically. And I don't ever want to be like that either. But I mean, shame on you, Jon Stewart. you've got a big name, you've got a lot of reach, and you bring somebody in just so that you can be a complete asshole to them and not even let them talk after you're going to ask them a question, and just keep asking them questions and then put words in their mouth, which he did several times, in an attempt to make them look like a moron. Shame on you. That is definitely not journalism. It's not even entertainment. It's just despicable, and it's pathetic is what it is. But that's the type of thing that I won't do on my show, no matter what happens. Even if we would go huge, we don't do that here. And every week before we do this, I pray that the show grows the way it should, and so far it's not. So apparently I'm not destined to make it big, and that's not in the cards for the man upstairs, and that's okay. I'd rather have a small audience that actually is real people, so I'm good with that too for now. I'd like it to grow. That's why I tell everybody, please share, please comment, hit the like button. The more activity we get, the more people are likely to see it. Same thing over there on the old Rumble side, which again, I don't think anybody's watching live. If you're watching on Rumble, please make the comments. Let us know that you're out there, because I don't see anybody commenting there. Let me just refresh this and we'll double check. We'll hit play and we'll have to mute again. We have an ad. Hold on, we got to get through the ad. Maybe it's not even playing right. I don't know what's happening here. Anyway, that's probably Rumble's giving me fits. I'll figure that out later. But in the meantime, get those comments in there, especially on the Facebook and on the YouTube, because all the activity helps us. Even the people that thumb us down, it actually helps us. So don't think that you're getting one over on me if you thumb down the show. But
good, I don't feel guilty anymore then.
that was you? Knew it.
Different tabs. There are six people watching on Rumble right now.
For whatever reason, it's not even showing me now. I need to go back to.
It actually starts playing an ad, and then the podcast catches up, and it shows where we are. So
mine just went back to my placeholder video. It does say 5 watching now on my side. I just can't get it to can't get it to show up anywhere. I guess that's whatever.
Hey John, I'm sorry to do this, man. I gotta bail. I am way past my bedtime, and I'm flat running out of juice.
I totally understand. You know what? I've kind of run out of steam anyway on the conversation. So we're gonna do this. Paul, go ahead and give any closing thoughts, and then shameless plugs.
I'm going to say, if you're, especially in Second Amendment areas, don't be afraid to subscribe to 1 Million Moms, the demanding mommies, don't be afraid to subscribe to their newsletters. They'll let you know what's going on, what they're doing. And I get a lot of insight from getting those emails. And then, of course, just broad spectrum. Keep doing multiple searches a day. There's no secret to what I do. I just do it a lot to get the news stories I do. Just when you are doing your search, narrow it as much as you can. Google, everybody loves DuckDuckGo, and they're good. They just don't do as narrow of a search as Google does. So, shameless plugs for me, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Central Time. And I stole this from John, and I'm never giving it back. The Central Time, the only time zone that matters. Come check us out on the Polite Society podcast, Facebook and YouTube page. We're also on Rumble. We're also on OpsLens. We're on your Roku streaming devices. Anywhere you can get media, we're there. That's my shameless plug.
Awesome. And in fairness, I stole that the only time zone that matters thing from Travis. So
Because we're in the middle, everything rotates around us. It's like a flat
Exactly
earth.
right.
It's
That's exactly what it is.
absolutely.
All right, Paul, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Keep up the good work. Go tune into the Bullet. I would tell you that I'd try to weasel my way back on, but there's just no updates. We're just waiting. So
even if you don't have any
we've
specific
got
updates, you're always welcome, man. Whenever your schedule and my schedule coincide, I'll get you in.
Hit me up. I kind of a last minute schedule change. I'm off this coming Monday, and I would have some time. So hit me up later when we're off air tomorrow. Get to bed. We'll talk about it later. We won't
Sounds
good,
good,
waste
man.
everybody's time, but yeah, maybe you'll see me on Monday on the Bullet there. So thanks, Paul. We appreciate you.
See you, man.
But yeah, go check out the Bullet over on the Polite Society podcast Facebook page or on YouTube over there. It's good stuff. And there are a lot of shows that I've mentioned, like the News and Why It Matters. It's kind of a panel discussion of current events, and they don't have anybody that's a regular on the show that is knowledgeable, or how do I say this, as knowledgeable about the Second Amendment advocacy stuff as a lot of people that we know. I have seen Maj Toure be on that show before. I think once he was on there. So every now and then they'll get somebody. Who's the other one? I want to say Amy Robbins, who is the founder of Alexo Athletica Apparel, who's very good with Second Amendment stuff as well. So every now and then they'll have a few people on, but just none of the Blaze regulars. None of them, are Second Amendment, how do I say this, experts, I guess. They all, for the most part, I think they all own firearms, and they all want their rights to not be infringed, but that's kind of as far as it goes. They don't know all the nuances that we discuss at length on shows like this one. So I'd like to see that. But I said all that to say this: when you get a show that brings up 2A news throughout the day, or maybe stuff that happened yesterday, whether it's Biden's latest executive order or the latest court case or something else that's happened somewhere in the country, and you want kind of a little bit of a panel discussion, because that commentary is good, right? There's some things that happen that I think, this is my opinion on it. I'll hear somebody else's opinion that'll help shape what I think about the world, right? That commentary is really good. And that's what they do on the Bullet. They take some of these topics and then they kind of dissect them a little bit, kind of like what I try to do with some topics in here. And on the weekdays, it's usually just Paul and one guest. On Saturdays at noon Central, it's I think there's usually Paul and three other guests is what he tries for. Yeah, they and that's Saturday's an hour-long show instead of a half hour, so they kind of recap the week. Good stuff. Some cool opinions out there, and I would recommend doing that to all of you. Go check out the Daily Bullet, the Bullet, the daily version and the weekly version. So there's a free plug for what Paul does, because I believe in it, not just because he's had me as a guest, but because it's a great show, and I do try to catch that one too. It's just, again, something's got to give, and there's several of them that come on at 5 o'clock Central Time all at the same time that I like to watch. So I can't get to very many of them live, that's for sure. All right, so let's do this. We'll give everybody kind of a chance to do the wrap up thing, and then again, Travis or Defense Dad, whoever wants to take it, tell us about Thunder on the Prairie. And Joe, if you got other stuff that you wanted to bring up that we didn't talk about, then we'll give you a chance. But Pat, we're going to let you lead off if you have closing thoughts, anything you want to bring up. And then where can people find what you're doing online?
I just want to say thanks for having me on tonight. And yeah, you can find me on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm on Pat Hirsch on Facebook, and I'm at Pat in a Bunker on YouTube. Got a lot of stuff, and I know I've said this the last couple of weeks, I've got a lot of stuff filmed and everything, but I had to shut down the video tonight because everything is getting really jumpy and flaky on my end. And hopefully Elon will be sending me some upgrades here very quickly, because the old hard line coming into the bunker is not cutting it. So yeah,
You know,
go
when
check
things
out everybody's channel.
when things
What's
get
that?
flaky, you can always sometimes that flakiness gets to be a problem, but Selsun Blue works really well to clear that up. Just so you know.
Yeah, no, I have the same problem in my beard too, but I use Everyman Jack.
There you go. That's good stuff too. Yep.
Thanks for having me on, John. Appreciate it. Go check out
You-
these guys' channels and everything. Go subscribe and hit that like button on your way out, please. Thank you.
All right. Well,
Thanks for having me on, John.
you bet. We sure appreciate it. All right, Joe, we'll move over to you. If you've got final thoughts on the news stuff and then anything else that you wanted to mention, we'll give you time to do it.
Well, of course, the NFL way. Definitely, if you're in Nebraska, always come over and check us out at NebraskaFirearms.org.
You got it.
The,
you go. I'm so proud of you.
hey, it only took me. We're not going to discuss how many times, okay? But I do have, speaking of many of us are from Nebraska, and the people who are watching are from Nebraska, I got me something cool this weekend. I don't know if you can see it that well.
Oh, that is cool.
This is a thermos right here. This is actually put together by a friend of mine who is in Nebraska, and his site is TrumpOneFlags.com. And he's got a lot of shirts, hats, flags, all sorts of different mugs. He'll make certain things for you, all sorts of things. So yeah, he brought me this last weekend, and I was like, that is freaking awesome. So I figured I'd give him a nice plug today. So let's support Nebraska and local people and businesses. And he also supports the NFOA and many of the other things we're involved in. So, and as far as anything that you want to do with your senators, we definitely have that information as well at nebraskalegislative.gov to comment on those bills. We need to keep people involved. You can go there as well. You can find your senator or any senator. And it please, one big thing is if you make a phone call, you're not probably going to get the senator. You're going to get their aide in the office. If you send an email, be polite, be nice. Think of it this way. We are their bosses. And if your boss came and chewed you out every day, all the time for every little thing that you did, that he didn't like about you, your attitude probably would go south very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So we are their bosses. If you are somebody who wants to be involved and keep your senators accountable, please be nice.
Yeah, everybody likes a pat on the back instead of addressing down, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
And what's the old saying? It's cliche, but it's true. You'll catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So catching flies being the goal, I guess, in this analogy. But yeah,
absolutely. And if you disagree with them, they'll actually have a conversation with you.
That's
if you're nice.
That most of those people in the legislature, most of them will sit down and they'll listen. If you want to have a real calm conversation, like I was talking about Travis having earlier, they'll listen to you and they will have a true discourse with you. And if there's something that you want them to do that they absolutely cannot do, they'll tell you, and they'll tell you why. They'll try to make it make sense or whatever. There's a few of them that I can't give the benefit of the doubt in Nebraska's legislative body, that I don't think that they would sit down with just anybody and have a true discussion. But even the ones who typically vote against the bills that I want passed and vote for the bills that I want to not pass, several of those, to their credit, will have a real conversation. And for the most part, there's a pretty decent group of human beings. Whether or not they're decent at legislating, that's a different discussion. But for the most part, I think they're pretty decent human beings. A few exceptions, but yeah, some good people in there. So just remember, they are still human, right? I mean, they put their pants on both legs at a time, just like everybody else does. And so,
are we sure about all of them? I'm
No,
just
some of them
asking.
a lot of them wear dresses. I don't know if they wear pants.
No,
But
human,
no,
human.
oh, human? Yeah, as far as I assumed, yeah. But no, to be perfectly honest, I mean, they're like anybody else. You know, they want to be given respect. Some of them think they deserve respect because they're an elected official. You've got to learn to kind of deal with a little bit of that, but at the same time, they respect the office, even if you don't respect the person in it. Keep that in mind too. At least respect the position, respect the office, and treat that person in there accordingly. They won't be there forever, but the people that work in that office, they'll still be there probably when that senator is gone and somebody else is elected to that district. That staff member may still be in there. So don't, whatever it is, don't take it out on them, because they're the ones they're the gateway, right, to get you into the senator. Is Senator so and so busy right now? Yep, she's in a meeting. She can't take your call right now. Gosh, I can never get through. Oh, that's too bad. That sucks. You know, I mean, make friends with the people that are in the outer office, because they're your gateway. So be nice to them too. All right, Joe, thank you very much for being along with us tonight. A pleasure as always. Travis,
Enjoyed it.
I will let you give your closing thoughts and shameless plugs.
Yeah.
And then we'll let Defense Dad do it. And then when you guys are done with that, you can do the Thunder on the Prairie part. So
sounds good. Yeah. It's, just type in Travis B11 on Google. You'll find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, just pretty much all the social networks I'm out there, Gunstreamer, YouTube, etc. We do our podcast on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Time. It's called Caliber Corner. And we have just different topics every week we talk about. We've been kind of looking at the past, present, and future of a different gun company every Saturday, which has been kind of fun to look at. We talked about Winchester. We've talked about, remember what we had 2 weeks ago? Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But we're talking about High Point on Saturday, which is going to be pretty cool. So it should be an interesting discussion. It should be fun. So do check it out. Otherwise, I'm getting close to 50,000 subscribers. It's taken God knows how many hours of my life and like fit 1,200 videos to make it happen, but we're there. But that's what happens when you don't buy your subs. So yeah. Anywho, so we're getting there. We're like 30 short, so we'll make it happen. Little milestone for me. But that's it for right now. It should be a lot of fun. I did post a new video this morning for the Beretta A300 Patrol. Absolutely love that shotgun. It's so much fun to shoot. Wind was awful in that video. I apologize. It was terrible, but it was terrible conditions to film in, but I wanted to get out there. I wanted to shoot the dang thing and just try it. It was just, in fact, when I got home, it like started blowing snow and stuff. So just to show you how fun the weather is in Nebraska in the springtime. But I did order a external microphone that plugs into the camera that has the dead cat on it and stuff. So it should block out that wind noise. So hopefully I can have better luck next time. So the video audio quality will improve with the channel. So, otherwise, I appreciate the discussion. It was a good one. And, you're talking about how hard it is to get somebody from the left side to come join you and have these discussions with us. I did notice that on the bigger channels on XM, when they have somebody from the liberal left show up, these are like longtime colleagues of these conservative talk people that they've known and had relationships with for a long time. So they have a civil discourse. They agree to disagree. They go back and forth and try to see things through, try to understand where each person's coming from. So it's refreshing to hear that, because it's just generally a screaming match. Who can yell over who is what it turns into in the left versus the right. Debate's a topic. It's really sad that's what we fall into, but that's just how people are.
Well, for the most part, and this is true on both sides of the discussion, but people have lost the I don't know if they've lost the ability, but they've lost the will to agree to disagree. That's really what it comes down to. Is it's
see things my way or I hate you. It's like I can't even respect you as a human being. That's what
agree
it is.
To disagree to, if you're not with me, then you're against me.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're my enemy. Therefore, you must be destroyed, canceled, annihilated, and you don't get a voice. And that's the part that's both saddening and angering at the same time for me.
Yep.
So, all right, Travis, thanks for being here, hanging out, doing what you do.
Absolutely.
Defense Dad, we'll let you bat cleanup, and then I want to hear a little bit more about the old Thunder on the Prairie for the people that haven't heard it yet.
Oh, I think we had a good discussion. If you want to check out my stuff, I got videos. So I did Defense Dad on YouTube, and there's a little bit of stuff on Instagram. That's about it.
All right, cool. All right, who wants to tell us about the thing coming up here in June?
I'll go really quick. I do want to. I'm going to talk to Defense Ed about this. I do want to post. We did a live stream on all the details about what Thunder on the Prairie 2023 is about.
Yep.
But I want to do one and post it on my regular feed. That's not live because the live ones don't always get a lot of reach.
Sure.
So it's separate. I didn't realize that. Maybe I might even download that and just repost it on my main channel so people can watch it because it explains all the details. It's going to be a gathering of YouTubers and Pro 2A people first weekend in June at Nebraska Shooters in Firth, Nebraska. You can sign up and register for it now. $25 per day. Defense Ed and I, we don't benefit from it monetarily at all. In fact, this is all being funded out of pocket. We've been talking to some small and big sponsors for the event to just contribute items that we'll consume and use during the event and kind of put together some fun goodie bags for the attendees. And we do have Meat Ammo on board this year, which is really cool. They are awesome. It's cool. They want to help us, even if we only generate like say a dozen sales for their company. They want to help us, which is cool. So it's going to be the first day is going to be we're going to have like a Top Shot style competition. The second half is going to be open range time, and then Sunday is going to be time for controlled filming on the range where people can film videos on a range shooting, which they might not get to do back home because to have that kind of access is pretty rare in some of the places where these guys are coming from. So it should be a good time. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just to get people together and just have our own. And anybody's invited to come to it if you want to, but it is kind of a YouTuber event, so expect people to be filming and cameras out and stuff like that. It's just kind of like a little family reunion of all of us that hang out online. We get together in person. So it's good stuff, dude.
Very cool. All right. Hey, HVS is in the house out there in the comments. Very cool. Haven't seen you in forever.
It's like 3:00 in the afternoon where he is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's like almost noon there or something. It's still Monday morning. I don't know how that works.
Defense Ed, did I forget anything at all? Was there anything we needed to mention? I'm gonna kind of just throw it all out there real quick.
No, I think that covers. I mean, I think the shooting contest is gonna be a lot of fun. We got 8 stages set up with various guns and different challenges. Kind of a fun way to kick the whole event off. There are still a few slots available in the bunkhouse. If anybody needs it, I'm not sure how many. I got to check with Justin, but they've got a full service bunkhouse for people to come to their events, and it's a free will donation part on that part of it. It's for the actual event. It's $25 a day per person, and that just covers. He basically just Justin charges us that much basically just to. Because he has to not schedule other money-making events for that. So he just charges what he would charge an instructor to stay there, basically.
Right. So, and he's still got to pay for insurance on that place.
Yep.
So when he's not making extra money on that, a little bit.
And additional SROs for supervision, that's going to cost money too if they get paid for helping. Because last year we got lucky and had spares, but
yeah, Travis and I are going to
be doing. We're doing that this year.
We both got certified as RSO, so we'll be doing that.
Cool.
You actually get to shoot at moving metal ducts on a conveyor belt. I mean, how much more fun can you have than that? And we're going bowling with a 12 gauge.
Every time I hear more about this thing, it just makes me that much more disappointed that I can't go this year. So you better top it in 2024 because I know for a fact I have seen the calendar and that weekend is blocked off. So it has to be that weekend. I'm just telling you guys now. It has to be that weekend.
I will try to make it up there, guys, and I will have as much fun as possible so that I can come back and let John know about all the things he missed out. I will make sure and rub it in.
As is typical, I will live vicariously through Joe.
Anyone who wants to register, you go to Nebraska Shooters and you look for Thunder on the Prairie 2023. There is a code you have to type in. It's listed as a private event. It's Thunder 23, all caps. That gets you past the gate so you can register for it. The only reason he does that is he's trying that way it keeps it separate from just his regular students thinking it's a class or something in being disappointed.
Sure. Okay, so let me find this on the old schedule here. I will put the link up in the comments once I find it. There it is. Copy link address.
DJ says Omaha after party both nights.
Firth to Omaha is only about an hour and a half. So yeah, it shouldn't be too bad.
Right.
There we go. The link, the NebraskaShooters.com link there is right to the event. You can get your info, register from there. Cool stuff. All right. And look, the one that looks like this, that's the one to go check it out on Nebraska Shooters. Speaking of Nebraska Shooters, I tell you what, any instructor worth their salt never stops learning, never stops taking other people's classes. At least I hope that's true, because I say it's true all the time. So I've got there's a not a Nebraska Shooters facility, but they do have an instructor up here in this end of the world too, up by Pierce. His name's Randy, very cool guy, friend of mine. And Norm Hood, a lot of you know that name, is coming through and doing several classes this year, actually, between the Firth facility and he's coming in May up to Pierce and doing a 2-day Saturday, Sunday thing. What is it? Fighting pistol on Saturday, urban rifle on Sunday. And the schedule allows me to do it. I actually get to go train with Norm Hood. That's going to be fun. So there's still some seats open, I believe. So if you're in the Northeast Nebraska area, you want to go train with a very good trainer. It's $200 for each class, $350 for the pair. So you save $50 if you take both days. Details are there on Nebraska Shooters website as well. So if you use that link to go to the Thunder on the Prairie, then you can navigate back up to May 20th and 21st up in the Pierce area. I would love to have somebody in that class that heard about it on my show. That'd be badass. I would love to see that happen. So go check that out as well. And speaking of classes, if you want to take the concealed handgun permit course and you're near Ainsworth this weekend, Ainsworth, Nebraska, we've got one scheduled. There's still plenty of room in the class. So just go to sandhillsdefense.com and click on the button for classes, find the one that says Ainsworth and go from there. Get yourself registered. It's not too late. And here's the thing, even if LB 77 does pass and you aren't required to have a concealed handgun permit, do you know everything you need to know to keep yourself out of jail in the event that you carry? And what if you take it to the wrong place? Because there are some prohibited places that they're not necessarily common sense places that you would think that you'd get jammed up. So there's a lot of good info in that class, even if you don't get the concealed handgun permit, and you've got 3 years to decide. Once you get that certificate, it's good for 3 years. So go take the class, help me out, help my business. And even if you decide to go permitless, if we do get that passed this year, once that takes effect later in the year, then at least you'll know what you need to know. So go check it out, sandhillsdefense.com. All right. I think that's it. Shameless plugs and all that too. So my shameless plug, if you're watching this show or hearing my voice, you already know that I do a show. So this is it. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time, right here on Sandhills Media. You can get the Get Off My Lawn podcast. I don't have a date locked in. I'm not shooting for next week. Next week might be just kind of a anything goes topic, because I don't know how much time I'm going to have between getting home and getting this fired up, because we've got not end of the month. It is the end of the month quarterly inventory at my store, and that's going to go till probably after 7:00. So I may get home just in time to get this fired up. So we're not going to put a lot of time and effort, and I'm not going to book a guest on a night that everything could go haywire. But 2 weeks from now, maybe. I'm still in discussion, waiting to hear back from him. I offered him the first weekend in April, or first week rather of April. I think that's the 6th of April, if I'm not mistaken, a Wednesday night. His name's Chris Cruz, and he is a producer on a not so much a news show, but one of my other favorite shows just for entertainment and commentary. They do cover some current event stuff, but only to make fun of stuff or to rant or whatever. The Chad Prather Show, which is part of Blaze TV as well. But Chris Cruz is a producer on the Chad Prather Show. Very cool guy. Didn't have any qualms at all about when I reached out to him. Said, yeah, he'd love to come on and be a guest. So we just got to figure out when we're going to have him. But yeah, we're going to sit down and just talk with Chris, and I probably won't have a whole panel of people. But you guys can sure weigh in from the chat. But just kind of talking about, what it's like to work in a place like Blaze TV Studios or what is it? Mercury One, I think, is the broadcast company that Glenn Beck owns. So we'll talk about all that and just kind of, his take on life. And Chris has kind of a cool story too. Just just his background. Cool guy. So look forward to that. And as soon as I get it locked in, then I will let people know when we've got him scheduled. But I'm hoping for 2 weeks. But at the very least, it won't be next week. Just because, like I said, I don't want to book a guest and then have the night go haywire, and then I waste his time too. So he's got a family that some small kids, and I believe his wife is expecting right now too. So he's got family obligations at night. So if we're gonna have him on, we're gonna make it worth his time and hang out and have a good discussion. So anyway, that being said, I think that's it for the night. Who was out there in the comments on the Facebook side? I know I saw a few of you out there. Randy was out there. Oh no, not M. Gabriel. Who else did I see on Facebook? That might have been it on the Facebook side. Was just Randy making the comments out there. I think it was. If you were commenting on Facebook while we were live and I didn't see you, that's your own fault because you didn't comment enough. On the YouTube side, and again, I don't have anybody commenting on Rumble, so those of you that are watching, I don't know where you are, what you're doing, why you're not commenting, but oh yeah, I see him out there. So all right, on the YouTube side, 500 Magnum, Usual Suspect, which I don't recognize that name, so it's good to have the Usual Suspects, but welcome Usual Suspect.
He's over on our podcast once in a while.
Okay, Tacos
Maybe,
and French
yeah.
Fries, Jeff Moeller, 10X Shooters, Defense Dad, Paul Lathrop, Blitz, Travis P11, Mr. Knives, M. Gabriel, DJ Play Nice, Pat in the Bunker, Hawaii Volcano Squad, and G-Webs did make it. Again, better late than never. G-Webs, you're kind of like a blister tonight. Now that all the work's done, that's when you finally show up. I love calling people that when they get there right when we're done. Just like a blister. Show up after the work's all done. So thank you all for being here, commenting, hitting the thumbs up. Again, even a bigger favor, hit the share button and let other people know that the show happened. Please, if you're not on Rumble, please go over there and join Rumble. If you like YouTube, you'll like Rumble, especially again if you like a platform that doesn't tell people what they can and can't say or can and can't show. Again, as long as it's not breaking any laws and it's not pornographic, that's pretty much it. Kind of like when Night Strike started up GunTube, right? So kind of like that. I mean, no porn and don't break any laws. The rest of it, he doesn't care. As long as you're not hurting anybody, he's not gonna come down on you. Rumble's like that. Very, very cool. Publicly traded now. Finally growing, and they've got some big names on there. You can watch Dan Bongino or ignore him, however you want. The Rubin Report, Russell Brand's over there. Who else? There's a bunch of big names over there now putting up videos. So go check it out. Subscribe to Sandhills Media while you're over there on Rumble, and give us a few rumbles over there on the show, would you? Help share that link. That would be cool too. Get other people to come check us out, and we can grow over there eventually. Maybe we can migrate away from the YouTube overlords and go to the Rumble. How do I say that? The land of the free, I guess. I don't know. There's lots more elbow room, a lot more leeway, a lot more freedom given on Rumble. So go check it out. Good stuff. On behalf of Paul, who had to duck out, and Joe and Pat and Defense Dad and Travis, Sandhills Sweetheart, Liberty Bell the dog, Bella the cat, who was making noise earlier, but I don't see or hear her anymore. And of course, myself. We love it that you were here. We love you. God bless you. But the show's over. You don't have to go. You just can't stay here. You got to do it. I'm going to say it. Get off my lawn.